Caitlin Clark of Indiana Fever leads the WNBA in points per game among rookies, with 16.1 per contest. She's also just become the first player in franchise history and the first rookie in WNBA history to record a triple-double, as she racked a team-high 19 points, tied a franchise and career-high 13 dimes, and tied a career-high 12 boards while taking the best team in the league. Caitlin is taking on the Washington Mystics and looks set to bolster her impressive stats. As the current points leader for rookies, all eyes will be on Clark as she steps onto the court. The dynamic guard, known for her lethal scoring ability, continues to make waves in the W. Analysts predict a strong performance, anticipating a challenging night for the Mystics defense. The Mystics, on the other hand, allows the fewest opponent points in the paint per game, just 32.7, and this suggests that the face-off on the hardwood will be intense. The Fever is currently on a 5-game home winning streak at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, so the energy will certainly be elevated. The combination of Clark's dynamic play and the home court advantage may prove to be a decisive factor in the face-off. However, the Mystics have a solid inside presence and a defense that can't be underestimated. Let's see how it goes as the tip-off approaches. And we're underway. The Mystics controlled the tip, but couldn't capitalize on the first possession. A couple of empty possessions for both teams set a rather slow pace early on, until Caitlin Clark finds Katie Lou Samuelson with a sharp feed inside, as Samuelson scores and gets Indiana on the scoreboard. Next up, Clark gets a little separation and a pretty step back. She hits a 3. On the other end though, Julie Van Loo answers with a triple for Washington, keeping the game competitive. The action becomes fast-paced as we see here, an end-to-end rush on the hardwood, with both teams matching each other to kick off the contest. But the Fever couldn't score on this one, and Stephanie Dolson, who is actually a top 3-point shooter in the league, gets a friendly roll on a long range to put the Mystics up by 1, their first lead of the game. Clark misses from downtown on the other end, and Ariel Atkins quickly runs for a pull-up jump shot. The pace becomes even more aggressive. The Fever are running the court hard and fast, intent on reclaiming the lead, but Samuelson steps on the baseline here. They turn it over. Next, the Mystics miss, but Samuelson travels and the Fever turn it over again with 8-5 Washington. It was 5 turnovers at that point for Fever to start the first quarter already. Washington scores as Aaliyah Edwards goes for a cutting layup here, and they're on a 10-0 run. But the Fever were able to answer as Samuelson ends up wide open and hits a 3 from top of the key. Check out Ariel Atkins though. Isn't this a tough shot off balance? She was defended well here by Boston, but Atkins somehow managed to get the shot off and sink it. Compelling play. Then she comes up with a steal, and Fever has to foul her. At this point, everything falls for Washington, but Indiana turns it over for the 7th time. What? Dolson goes on to score inside as she cuts through the heart of the Fever defense. The Mystics are pulling ahead now, exhibiting signs of control in their gameplay. Clark, despite struggling at the moment, still shows hope for the Fever. There she comes, with a step-back answer from downtown. Peep Kelsey Mitchell, with a nice reverse here, but Dolson comes back again, this time with a layup. Mitchell won't give up on the next play, comes away with it, and puts it in. But the Fever defense keeps struggling as Jade Melbourne goes for a cutting finger roll layup and makes it with ease. To make it even worse, Dantas throws a bad pass here for another Fever turnover to end the first. As the second quarter gets underway, the Fever starts off strong with a much-needed steal from Caitlin Clark, but they turn it over. Emily Inksler quickly makes them pay on the other end. Next up, a great backdoor cut by Erica Wheeler as Caitlin Clark feeds her. What a pass! The Mystics are on a roll. Van Loo is left open and knocks down an easy one from behind the arc. The Fever answers, as Boston does a good job, posting up and spinning to get to her left shoulder, hitting a solid bank shot. Clark to Wheeler. She gets it to go. It's still a 10-point Washington lead with 33-23 on the board. The Mystics continue their aggressive play, with Edwards attacking the baseline, and Boston fouls her. It's her third, as she gets subbed out. Next, Atkins hits a 3 in quick response, adding yet another dagger for the Fever. Then, Edwards with a second chance put-back layup, and Washington's momentum grows stronger. The Fever won't give up, as Kelsey Mitchell drives to the rack, splits the D, hits it with contact, and gets it to the line. Washington is moving the ball so well. Check it out. The cross-court pass, then finding the open player after a double team, and the second effort again, as Maisha Hines-Allen puts it back up and in. Tough shot for Nalissa Smith here. And watch this, as Clark comes up with a steal here. Caitlin gets fouled as Washington stops their transition opportunity, but she wastes no time, quickly picking herself up and powering through with the free throws. The Fever turns it over next. Whoa, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough to the races. As she gets the finger roll to go, Mitchell with a deep 2, scores with a jumper. But the Mystics respond rapidly as Jade Melbourne sinks it from behind the arc, and Washington finishes the half on top of Indy 51-37. The Fever starts the second half aggressively as Smith scores inside, off Caitlin Clark's assist. It's her 8th now. Clark is really showing her playmaking skills tonight. Oh, and her offense isn't too shabby either. Look at this. Clark driving, drawing the foul. She knocks both free throws to cut the Fever deficit to 10. Next up, Caitlin's screen roll. As Boston sets a nice screen, Dolson switches on her, and voila! Clark steps back and knocks down a triple, a sequence with exceptional finesse. Ariel Atkins pulls up for a jump shot on the other end, sinking it neatly to keep Washington ahead. Aaliyah Boston working inside for Indiana, she lays it in. Then Clark, behind the back in transition, as Smith lays it up and in for the Fever. Yo, that's the 10th dime for Clark, a double-double already, and she's not about to slow down. Atkins with a steal for the Mystics, thwarting the Fever's momentum. They're sprinting back, Dolson with a running alley-oop off a nice pass from Walker Kimbrough with a foul from the Fever. Then Dolson with a three-point pull-up. She's cooking. It's 67-50 Washington with just over 3 minutes to go in the third. Man, the Fever is just emotionally not in it at this point. They keep fouling, committing costly errors and giving the Mystics easy scoring opportunities at the free throw line. Meanwhile, Washington goes on a 12-point run. They go from up 9 to up 21. Samuelson knocks one from the corner, but they're still down by 21 to end the third. Last chance for the Fever. The fourth quarter kicks off, but their game is unraveling fast. Clark here with a nice pass backdoor to Hull, who goes for a layup, and she's successful. Mitchell lays it in here for the Fever, but their attempt at catching up looks desperate. Clark tries to heat things up, coming up with another crafty bucket, a running finger roll layup as we go into a timeout. Can this be a defining moment? It's a 15-point difference now, with 8 minutes to go in the fourth. Keep watching to see if Caitlin Clark continues her astounding performance and manages to steer the Fever towards a comeback. Mitchell deep 2. The Fever is coming in with some energy after the timeout as buckets keep dropping. Momentum starts to swing in the Fever's favor. Aggressive defense, Indiana is putting pressure on Washington. Walker Kimbrough commits a traveling turnover, and next thing you know, Damiris Dantes turnaround fadeaway. She hits it. Then Clark launches a long-range spot-up shot in transition. Money. And the Fever are back to single digits with 6 to go in regulation. Indiana kept fouling on defense though, and Washington was able to extend the lead again. To keep the Fever in the game, Boston once again powers through the Mystics' defense, spins and finishes with a jump shot. Lexi Hull with a 3-ball next. Swish. Clark catch and shoot here. While the switch is late, she hits a 3 over the hand of the defender. Bang! What a play. Clark is on fire. Then Clark with a steal in the backcourt, and she is fouled. Caitlin goes down hard, hits 1 of 2 from the line. It is just 85-77 Washington at this point. A turnover for the Mystics, Clark gets ahead and lays it in. It's a 6-point game with 2 minutes left to play in the fourth. Clark hits both from the charity stripe, makes it a 1-possession game with 1 minute left. Now, isn't she proving herself a standout performer tonight? Washington is able to score and make a defensive stop next. They extend the lead to 5, and the Fever just fell short in this one. What a comeback, but obviously not enough. The Fever outscored the Mystics 29-13 in the fourth, but they just couldn't shake off the deficit from the previous quarters. Despite their significant fourth-quarter surge, the damage was already done. The Mystics held on to their lead, riding on the rhythm they had built up in the early stages of the game. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Fever, considering the incredible performance of the last quarter. And Caitlin? She proves once again that she's a transformative powerhouse player. Team-high 29 points, team-high 13 assists, team-high 5 steals. There's no question she is the driving force of this team, and there's no question there is no one like her in the league, and perhaps in the entire world. Alright, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you thought down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the episode if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.